Today we're going to talk about letting go of the self. Hi, thanks for joining me today. I'm going to be talking about letting go of the self and how we can actually experience that in real life. So, the illusion of the self is something I discussed in a different video, and it's one of the three major illusions that cause most of the trouble in our lives because we feel like we're an individual person as part of the universe, but separate from everyone else, separate from everything else. We feel like we're something apart from the universe, but within the universe as a sort of container for us. And that's a very destructive illusion because it doesn't allow for compassionate existence. It sets up conflict between us and them. It sets up conflict between humans and the environment. It sets up conflict between animals and humans also. And so the illusion of the self can be easily dispelled, but it's easier to talk about letting go of the self than it is to actually let go of the self. And so some people pursue drugs in order to feel this sense of selflessness. It's called ego death in the drug world. So if you do mushrooms or DMT or LSD, you'll have an experience where you realize that there's nothing about this here, this physical part. There's nothing about that that's real. I mean, there's just no connection whatsoever between what I think I am and my body. And that's a shortcut way of getting there. If that's something that you're interested in, there's people who are into that, into the psychedelic movement, and they'll tell you that it's very beneficial. And the next drug that's pushed for legalization is going to be psilocybin mushrooms in Colorado. They're looking to do that pretty soon. And that will get you to a place where you can understand that you're not different from the tree you're looking at, and that there's literally no difference between myself and that wall over there. It's just that that wall appears to be far away from me. It appears to be something that I can contact. It appears to be 10 or 15 feet away, but what really is there is the contents of consciousness. So there's shortcuts available to jumpstart the idea that you're not really a separate self apart from the universe and apart from other people. But really the best way to do it is to achieve the sense of selflessness, sometimes called emptiness, sometimes called ego death, with meditation. How do you achieve that through meditating? Well, if you've done any of my daily meditations, and I hope that you do, we focus on the breath. We focus on the breath because the breath is constant, it's automatic, and it's something that we can engage with. We can breathe deeply if we want to, but we also learn that the breath is something that occurs right here, but that doesn't have much to do with my consciousness. It doesn't have to do with my ability to interact with other people, but it is a constant thing that is occurring in my body. So the breathing acts as a bridge, a sort of gateway between the consciousness experience and the outside world. So that's why we focus on it. But you can use any object to focus on the outside versus the inside. And the reason that's important is because there is no outside and inside. We have to do things that provide us an insight into the actual lack of difference between breathing and living and existing in the consciousness. One thing that people do that's very harmful is that they fix themselves into pure tension in order to hang on to what they consider to be themselves. In reality, we are consciousness expressing itself through interaction with what we perceive to be the outside world because of the sensations that the outside world affords us due to our five senses, and along with the illusion of time, which makes us think that time is tick, 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 ticking away, when in reality it's one ever-present, current, changing moment, and the idea that we have free will when really we're just riding this 13 billion year wave in this universe of causes and conditions pushing us towards certain actions. We couldn't act any way other than we do based on the causes and conditions of our experience. And then you push that into the self, and we realize, okay, we are adrift in a current moment. We're floating in this sea. We're being pushed around by waves. But the last step is noticing we're not pushed around by waves. We are the wave. And once you allow yourself to be the wave, then you can relax, then you can be calm, then you can have happiness, you can interact with others by just realizing, listen, we're all part of this thing here. And the rich guy over here, the homeless guy over here, they're not different. They're the same thing. They just think that they're different because their senses are fooling them into thinking they're different. And so we gather up ourselves because we feel that we are adrift as this wave in the ocean of consciousness. And some people become scared when they are loose like that and they don't enjoy the freedom of that moment. They become frightened. And so they try to hold tension. And you'll notice that you sometimes hold tension in your gut. You sometimes hold tension in your spine. You hold tension in your neck. And it's because when we're younger, they tell us to get yourself together, pull yourself together, hold yourself together. And that's tension in the body. So one of the main reasons that meditation helps to lose the sense of the self is because you'll eventually lose all tension in the body through your practice. And so meditation allows us to relieve the tension in our body, allows us to let go of it. And after, I would say 60 days, if you do it every day, 60 days, 90 days, sometime like that, you'll eventually stop moving at all during your meditation. At the beginning, you might shift around, you might be uncomfortable, you might notice some tingling in your legs, things like that. Eventually, that all just stops, and you realize that your body is just going to be there, and your body's doing the automatic things that it does, like breathing, it's growing bones, it's growing hair, it's growing nails, and you don't have to do anything about it. So you can release that tension in your mind and let your body do what it does, and that is extremely comfortable, and it's a comforting place to be because we realize that we're not a self and we're not going to lose a self eventually when we die. We weren't given a self when we were born. And so we're able to relieve the tension of all of the ideas that come along with, oh, I'm a separate person here. I have these separate desires. I have a separate house. I have a separate dog. And we can relate to people in a much more compassionate, empathetic way when we drop the idea of ourself. And the easiest way to drop the idea of yourself is to relieve the tension in your body and have a clear mind, and eventually the insight will come that you are actually just part of this overall universe of things. And that's where I want to end it today. I just want to encourage everyone to meditate every day. I've got 9 meditation videos up on my YouTube channel so far, and I plan to make one available every single day for as long as it takes until people are able to develop their own practice. And so one of the goals you might set is to relieve the tension in your body. After a certain number of practices, you will eventually become able to just let go of your body right away as soon as you sit down to meditate. And of course, that follows you through the day, where you can just check in with your body and say, okay, listen, I have some tension in my guts here. I'm just going to take a breath or two and relieve it and let my body relax. And so that's a technique that you'll develop through constant practice of meditation. So I hope that you join me for my daily meditations. I hope that you're enjoying these daily doses of insight. Please like the video, subscribe to my channel, hit the notification bell to get them every time that I upload one. And please share this with people. The only way that I'm going to accomplish my goal of helping people avoid suicide and let go of anxiety and depression is by reaching a larger audience. And the only way I can do that is if you share this video with people that you know that might benefit from it. So thank you for joining me today, and I'll see you tomorrow.